Welcome to the Players Championship 2021 DraftKings preview with the Tour Junkies. DB here. I got Pat Perry with me. We're going to have a fun show tonight, as always. Now, I don't know if it's going to be as lit as last week's show, Pat. You tell me. I don't know how you're feeling. It was your birthday?
You mean as far as, yeah, it was my birthday, and, I partaked in a lot of drinks, and you know what? I feel like I might do that again tonight. I don't know why. I just might do it again tonight.
Well, you are going to be taking a very special beverage here in just a moment. But before we get into that, the show is presented, as always, by our friends at Fantasy National. Head over to fantasynational.com/TJ and sign up for an account. You get 20% off all your memberships there, weekly, monthly, or annual. You get 20% off as long as you're a member. Even if you switch back and forth between plans, you get to keep the 20% off discount. That's where we go for all of our PGA Tour stats, data, information, recent form, course history, strokes gain data, all these other stats, cool models, ownership projections for DFS, head-to-head matchup comparisons, simulators. If you're a golf betting guy or girl and you like some data, Fantasy National is where you got to go. And it's licensed data by the PGA Tour, so you know it's good, you know it's clean, which a lot of sites out there don't guarantee that. So we've been using Fantasy National for over 4 years now. Head to fantasynational.com/TJ and get that 20% off discount, playa. Man, I am pumped about the show tonight. We have we've got a guest coming on, which, by the way, producer Sam, he's probably going to need a new link. So we got a guest coming on in just a few minutes. We're going to be talking about the Players Championship. We've got the betting show is also going to be out. So if you're listening to this not live, the betting preview is also out in a separate show on YouTube, as well as wherever you listen to your podcast. I'm excited about the betting show, just kind of splitting some things up here so we can dive deep into the DraftKings slate. We got a Millie Maker on DraftKings this week, Pat. Millie Maker, huh?
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to winning $1 million. No, I'm not, because I'm probably not going to even play it. I may throw a lineup in there. We'll see.
We do have to. We got to acknowledge that the overgrown golfer Bryson DeChambeau wins at 12-1 at Bay Hill over Lee Westwood. Lee Westwood loses by a shot to Bryson. What a week. I mean, Bay Hill was pretty good. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time recapping Bay Hill. There's plenty of places you can go to do that. But obviously, we got to acknowledge that the Bryson did his thing. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is great overlay here. He wants to be in long drive competitions. That picture of him pointing to the sky, which I got to say was such a goofy. It was a very goofy point. Like, if you're just being honest, I'm just being honest. Now. It was a great shot and exciting, all that good stuff. But that was just goofy. Was that not good? I know it's a Kyle Berkshire thing, but it just was goofy. Just this thing.
I mean, it was a little bit goofy, but I didn't mind it. Like, I mean, I thought the crowd being all amped up about it was pretty cool, and it was also just neat in general having crowds back at the event. I mean, the crowds you could actually hear and that were fired up and sounded like they were getting rowdy. I think they liked it. I think that kind of stuff is good for the game. We talk about things like gambling and DFS and all that kind of stuff and all the new fans that it brings to the game, which we want. I mean, that's what we want. And I think Bryson, there's just as much, love him or hate him, he's a polarizing individual, that is for sure. But he brings new fans to the game. He brings some excitement. I didn't mind it. Yeah, it was a little bit of a goofy move.
It was goofy.
But I was still, I was watching him. I was tuning in, trying to see what he was going to do on hole number 6. I mean, I bet you were.
I was. It looked like the first thing you would do if you were like at a concert and like you weren't paying much attention, like you were on your phone or something, and like Steve Miller Band popped out and hit some guitar lick, and you just looked up from your phone, like, yeah. It looked like that kind of move. It just looked real dad in my Monarchs, like just pointing up here. It just was a weird move. It should have been something a little more masculine for Bryson. I don't know. But that's all. That's all the critique I got for him. Interesting to see him pull that off on number 6 at Bay Hill. Our Nut Hut winner. We had our Listener League. We have a new listener making his way to the Listener League finals with an opportunity to win a chance to come to Augusta, Georgia, play some golf with me and Pat. is Tim Myers at Hail Yeah, which I like that. I like that username at Hail Yeah.
Oh, Tim, he is a nut. He's a long time Nut Hut member. I like Tim
Long-time,
in there.
frequent time in their Nut Hut. His wife probably hates his Nut Hut membership. We got a lot of guys in there that their significant other probably is not a big fan of their Nut Hut membership. In fact, I think you got in trouble with it last night, didn't you? You thought something, another dad move. You thought something was a GIF and you touched it and it went off and your wife got pissed or something?
Yeah, I'm sitting there just laying in bed, and old crazy Marcus put some GIF of, I can't even remember what. I think it was John Michael Montgomery song or some shit. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, this looks like a GIF. I'm gonna play it. And I hit play and it just was loud as hell. So I don't know, but it's whatever.
The Nut Hut's a good time. Listen, we have our guest picker waiting in the wings, and I don't want to keep him too long. But before, you know what? Why don't we just do this together? Why don't we just bring him on for your penalty that you're about to have to pay? I think we should do that.
Oh, okay.
Let's producer Sam, let's go ahead and bring on the guest picker if he's ready. Hopefully this works out better than last week. Let's bring on the beautiful, the handsome. He's in some man's bedroom. That's a little boy's bedroom. Is that a manatee? What the hell is that? Oh, that's a dolphin.
I think it's a porpoise.
That's a thick porpoise, man. That is a thick porpoise. Look at that porpoise.
It's a big old boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brett Swedberg, caddy for Mr. Ryan Moore, and very handsome devil. He's appeared on this podcast a couple times. Brett, thank you for coming on. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I got good company out here this week at Jacksonville Beach. Staying with Fleener and Gino. Just had dinner with the boys and back at the house for the week.
Oh, wow. What was on tap for dinner? What'd you guys have? You had dinner with the defending players champion, Mr. Aaron Fleener.
He is. Yeah, we're trying to get a press conference for him out here this week. Hasn't happened yet, but Gino's working on it. So We'll see. We had, what was it called? Smokehouse barbecue or something like that?
Gino loves barbecue. I feel like we ate here.
Valley Smoke Restaurant. It was unbelievable. Yeah, really good.
Brett, before we get into this course stuff, we thought we'd bring you on early. You actually, I think it was you, talked us into doing a ranch water shot
last
year, like actual ranch dressing and water, which I had to do, and it was one of the grossest things I've ever done. But Pat lost a bet last week. I've actually won 2 bets in a row, 2 prop bets in a row, which is unbelievable. I was on a really bad run for a long time. I've won 2 in a row. This is definitely a worse penalty than the one before, but I said Billy Horschel would suck last week and you should fade him. The irons were garbage. And what happens? We see Billy Horschel throwing clubs in the air, missing cuts, trunk slamming on Friday. Pat disagreed, so he has to pay the penalty tonight. Pat, you have to take a shot of alcohol from a shoe. So I will let you take it away, and me and Brett can just commentate and ask questions.
Okay.
Is this a worn shoe?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is you'll see. I mean, it was worn just a couple days ago. Not today though. But here's the thing: Billy Horschel, what the hell? He's never missed the cut at the Arnold Palmer, and then he does it for me when I bet on him. I was a little bit pissed about that. But anyway, I got this Vulcan tequila.
Okay.
I've never had it before. As a matter of fact, I just opened this thing.
It's actually good.
How much was that bottle? Is it a good bottle?
I have no clue. Somebody
a listener sent that to us, actually.
Yeah.
Which more listeners should send us bottles of liquor.
So I'm going to make this official. I have a shot glass. I'm going to fill this up all the way. I'm not skimping here. Okay.
Is that just a silver or reposado? What is that?
It just says Blanco.
Okay.
863 says shoot the boot, baby. Here we go. 863.
Well, we decided we're gonna use a golf shoe.
Very nice. Very nice.
Okay. I just wore this
golf
shoe.
You gotta hold it up now.
I played this last Friday with this golf shoe. So hang on.
Man, imagine the speed and rotation that golf shoe has
I feel like I need to dump it quick because it might get everywhere. So
ooh.
Okay.
So gross.
All right. I'm not gonna let it fester in that shoe for too long. So here we go.
Oh wow.
He put his mouth on it. Oh my god.
He did.
Put your mouth on it.
Oh, that's terrible.
Producer Sam says those look like Billy Ho's golf shoes.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Dude, you put your
That's
mouth
pretty good.
Oh,
Hey, I mean, I'm going all in. There's a little grass on the end there.
little God, a little fungus among us up in that thing. That's gross, man.
Nah. Mm.
Well, hey,
No,
man.
the fungus is going to die. I mean, the tequila is going to kill any fungus and stuff. I mean,
That's
I'm
true.
not worried about
You
that.
didn't let it
That's
sit
a
in there
fact.
long enough for that, though. I don't think you got to. No cap, dog. No cap. You know, we're trying to use some new language here. Brett, how you doing,
Yeah.
buddy? You good?
I'm doing well.
You ready?
Thank you. Yeah.
Tell us about this golf course. You know, tell us about how you're feeling. Tell us about the buzz in Ponte Vedra 1 year ago. We were all,
Yeah.
you know, ready to, you know, to or Pat calls it with the chain smokers. You know, we're getting ready for that, and the whole world fell apart.
Yeah,
So
it
we're
did.
back. There's fans. It's the PGA Tour flagship event. Talk to us,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I wasn't out last week at Bay Hill, but I watched a little bit on TV, and it's good to have fans back. There's definitely going to be a different feeling. And last year was the first time I had caddied at Sawgrass, and we only got one round in, so that was kind of disappointing. And obviously, as we know, things kind of changed, but no, it's good. It's a year later, and golf course is great condition. Fairways are going to be pretty soft, roughs up, not up like last week. And the greens are great. They're obviously perfect all the time, and they'll get firm as the week goes on. So yeah, great golf course.
So you're saying it's a little soft in the fairways, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Yep.
Overseed stuff, like talk to us about all that, because there's a lot of stuff going on Twitter. Everybody's freaking out about overseed, and is it really also on the greens? Is it really putt like Bermuda, or is it a little more bent POA in there? Talk to us a little bit about that.
It's
Over
a little more bent POA. I mean, it's typical overseed. So yeah, it's just going to be a little bit tougher to get the golf course as fast and firm as it was, and it was when it was played in May. But so it's just going to play a little bit longer. That's really the biggest deal. And you know, I think you're going to have a little bit more consistent lies in the rough with ryegrass than it was with Bermuda. It's still going to be penalizing, obviously, with the greens being firm, but yeah, it's going to be. I mean, anyone can still play well, but obviously, you're going to favor guys. Like any golf course, pretty much going to favor guys that hit it far. So.
Talk about these greens a little bit more. You know, I do know that they can be a little bit slopey, but as far as how they putt, you know, obviously most of the year they are, you know, Bermuda, but now that, you know, we're kind of coming out of winter, overseed, all that kind of stuff. Do they tend to look and putt a little more like bent? Is that how it feels to you, or are they true like that?
Yeah, I mean, they're not as true with it being overseeded, but they roll, yeah, more like bent, I would say, and they are gonna, you know, cut them and roll them, so and they're not gonna be as grainy, if really any grain. So yeah, I would say it's more like, you know, Midwest golf course as far as the greens go, and obviously down in the Southwest with Arizona, they do the same things out there in the winters.
Yeah. What about scrambling around these greens? I mean, I feel like, you know, just from walking the course last year, I actually walked it with you and Ryan for a few holes, and
that was our first
some
time
other
we
folks.
met.
Yeah, that's right.
You remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. It was great. It was a great moment for me, Brett.
Wait,
I don't know about you.
Was it number? What number do we? 5?
14? No, it was back 9.
Back 9?
Yeah.
14. 14 fairway.
I just remember when we caught eyes, Brett, for the first time.
Yeah, he was definitely looking at me.
No, I think he was looking at me. I think he was looking at me.
Okay. I have a lazy eye, so I could have been looking at both of you.
I had the good eye. The good eye was definitely on me.
Yeah, for sure. You caught my IDB.
I did feel like though these greens though, you know, you got to scramble around these things. I mean, if you're not scrambling well this week, I feel like you're going to have some problems.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like any golf course, you just can't miss on certain sides. I mean, you short side yourself out here with the greens getting firm, you're going to be dead. So, yeah, if you miss in the right spots, you can still get up and down. But, yeah, still need to hit fairways and greens. That's a premium as it was last week too.
Is it a little easier to chip around the green? You have the overseed coming through. You don't have the grain.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, from just even my playing experience, I mean, I grew up in the Midwest, so it was all kind of like bent or, you know, bluegrass or whatever it was in the rough. It was always a mixed bag. But chipping out of Bermuda is just tricky. It's just super inconsistent. You got to hit like kind of more shots that are feeling like bunker shots. So they come up dead, sometimes come up top of the face. So I would say overall, it's definitely easier chipping out of like ryegrass.
You look at the weather forecast looks perfect.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely perfect. I think scoring, you talked about a little bit softer golf course, even though, the greens, you can probably count on being firm and fast, like you said. Where do you where do you see the winning score kind of falling? Or maybe too early to tell. We won't hold you to it.
It's probably too early to tell. I don't even want to put out a number right now. I don't know what the wind is going to be. I haven't seen the wind though. I mean, if everything changes if it's blowing 15 to 20. So I'm not going to put out a number.
There's nothing
right
projected.
now. I haven't seen much. Yeah,
nothing.
I haven't seen much.
What about talk about your boy Rymo, man? Ryan Moore had his best win at the Players Championship in 2019 with a T20.
Yeah.
How's he playing? I know you guys been working on some putting stuff. How's that going?
Yeah, no, he's feeling a lot better. He was injured in the fall. He had a strained back. He's kind of been dealing with that for a little while, so he took some time off to get that healed up. And I mean, we took off, man, almost 4 months, I think, from competition because he had to pull out of the Northern Trust first round of the playoffs last year, and then didn't play again till the American Express. And it's just shaking a little bit of rust off. No matter how good you are, you take that much time off and kind of unsure how you're going to feel, swinging a little conservative, maybe not going after stuff. It just takes a little bit of time. And he played fine. He just made a couple bogeys where he never would, and even made a couple doubles, which never happens. And then, miss a few putts here and there, and all of a sudden you miss a cut by one. And but he played well. He played fine at Pebble. I mean, Spyglass is tough. Played that in the second round. It was windy. Greens are tough hole locations. But I think we finished 26. So we're trending in the right direction. He feels good. Swinging it really good, and just trying to keep it simple with the putter. Trying to just make sure our alignment's good and ball position's good, and go from there.
Love it.
Yeah.
If Ryan, so let's see this. Ryan wins the golf tournament. Who do you think finished second come Sunday?
I can't say Joel Damon.
You can't say Joel Damon.
Okay. I love
or JT posted here. I would say JT.
Or JT. Okay. Gosh, that's such a great question.
Professionals, Brett.
I know. They're just
our show last week.
The field is pretty strong. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Tell me that.
So,
I think it is. Wait a minute.
Okay, I'll go. This is not okay. Willie F and Z, Will Zalatoris.
Oh, I like that.
Dang, dude. You think the young kid gets it done at the Players? At the Players, Brett?
He hits it so good.
Oh, buddy.
I'm a little biased. I know his swing coach is Troy Denton. He teaches Ryan as well, so a little biased there. But
well, I mean, praise God for Troy Denton. He's making a name for himself. Willie Z's incredible. I'm not saying he's not incredible, but the win. This is his 7th event in a row. 7th event.
Yeah, he's young. He doesn't have. I mean, he plays golf and loves golf.
Dude, I played 18 holes yesterday and walked, and I hurt like old people would say, like the Dickens when I woke up.
It is like the Dickens. How old are you? You're not 44, are you?
I'm 37.
Oh, dang.
Why did you bring up 44, Brett? Like, why did you have to bring that number?
Pat. Isn't that your lucky number, 44?
Yeah, it is. I appreciate that. Brett.
No, you don't look a year over 45, so you're doing well.
Thank you.
Swedberg, is Fleener or Gino right there? Are they listening to you? Are they
I don't know. They might be doing something weird outside the door.
What are you guys gonna do after this? After you get off of this, what's on deck? You guys.
We'll have a couple beers together. Yeah, there's I just met the other guys in the house. I'm not sure they caddy for, but yeah, they bought like these tall boys, so I think we'll have a couple of those and just kind of relax. But it's tough traveling east because I've got a couple hours. I'm gonna wake up at 6:30 or 7, which is gonna feel like 4:30 or 5. So I'll keep it pretty tame this week. I think I'm not sure about Fleener,
The podcast will be published by then. You can just listen to that. If one of the people in your room or in your house happens to be Siwoo Kim's caddy, just hit the link and get back in here and I want to talk to Siwoo Kim's caddy. Okay. All right. Deal. Brett Swedberg, thank you, man. We appreciate you coming on the podcast. We're going to have you on again.
Good.
Thanks for being so handsome, and we really appreciate that. I'm glad there's
Tell my
fans
wife that.
I'm glad there's fans out there this week that can lay eyes on you, and you and Ryan go get it done, and we'll see Ryan Moore and Willie Z 1 and 2. Troy Denton will be a happy man.
Yes, he will. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Brett.
Hey, Brett. Ladies and gentlemen, Brett Swedberg, PGA Tour caddy for Ryan Moore. Good guy, all around good guy, very funny guy. Just a pistol of a guy. Pat, let's talk a little bit about the golf course, but before we do, I got to talk a little bit about one of your favorite things, and that's wine. You know, you are the fantasy golf sommelier. I don't know if people know this, but you are. You have a video that comes out on our YouTube channel every week that's funny and informative. I don't know how well your picks did last week, but if they had Billy Ho, it probably sucked. So
I don't think they had Billy Ho. I did. I was good on the fade. Who now I can't remember who the fade was. Somebody could remind me, but the other picks weren't that good. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, good. Our friends at Wine Access continue to support the Tour Junkies podcast, and we would ask you, if you're a Tour Junkies listener and you like wine, then support Wine Access. They're hooking you up with a deal, okay? And there's so many different reasons why you should be checking out wineaccess.com/tour, not just to get the deal, but all the stuff that they do. They've got I like having a new bottle of wine to kind of look forward to. You know, something new, something fresh, something that's never hit my tongue before is always nice. I like to try the rare bottles. I hear that this thing called Michelin Star is a big deal. So I can get a Michelin Star favorite if I want, all kind of fantastic wines that I would have never known about. Or I can just get a $15 hitter that's like really good. Kind of that, that price like a Sutter Home, tastes like a Camus fantasy golf sommelier wine hitter. My latest discovery is one that you talked about the other week from Wine Access, the 2019 Lorenza Rosé California. Pat, you've done this. It was the Wall Street Journal's top pick of the year in 2017, and now in 2019 it's even better. You tried that one, huh? You like it?
Yeah, I mean, well, all rosés are pretty much good. I mean, unless you just get some really cheap rosé, but this stuff is really good. It's got this kind of raspberry honeydew. It's got some lavender. Hey, it's got lemongrass. Okay, so here's the thing with lemongrass. If I don't even know what lemongrass is, but I feel like it should be in my rosé. If I'm gonna have a rosé, it better have some lemongrass in it. And this has
some kind of grass in it.
It should have something,
preferably.
And it's got some lemongrass, and I like it. And let me tell you something. This is part of the actual tasting notes from Wine Access. Okay, this is the perfect cocktail wine for the patio pounder. Okay, that's me. I'm a patio pounder. Okay.
Wow.
DB, you've seen it happen before.
Right.
You've seen
I've
me
never
pound
anything on the patio. I've never seen.
No, but you've seen me pound some rosé.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not pounding. Yeah, pounding rosé. That means you're drinking. Drinking it really fast. Yeah. I don't know what else you're talking about, but yeah, pounding rosé is drinking it fast. Or if you're the pool. So here's the poolside sipper. Okay, that might be your wife. She might be a poolside sipper, likes to sip on a little rosé there.
Yeah.
I
like that.
It's good.
I love it, man. So trust us, you're going to love Wine Access like we do. Make sure you try that Lorenza Rosé California before they run out. We've got an incredible offer to get you started. It's 20% off your first order, only available through our special URL, wineaccess.com/tour. The discount will be applied at checkout. Again, that's 20% off your first order. And see some of our favorite wines. Go right now to wineaccess.com/tour. All right, Pat. Well, I mean, the course breakdown, it is what it is. We talked about it with Brett. This is TPC Sawgrass. Everybody knows. Pete Dye track, par 72, 70, almost 7,200 yards. It's one we're all familiar with, right? Only thing going on today is everybody nutting the hell up about how the greens are going to go. Okay, Pat, anything you want to add to what Brett said, or emphasize to what Brett said in terms of the course breakdown?
No, I mean, I think just adding a few things here. Let's talk semantics a little bit here. You mentioned par 72, 7,200 yards. We got 156 players in this field. I think there's actually 154 right now, but T65 and ties will make the cut. So it's a pretty hefty field. There's a lot of players in here, but obviously some great players, a great field. I do think they're going to get these greens. He mentioned, the course, I think, is going to be pretty soft as far as the fairways and everywhere else. The rough isn't going to be all that penal, but the greens are going to be pretty quick and they're going to be pretty firm as well. So I think that's something to look at. Also, I think it's important what he mentioned about, they tend to roll a little more true like bent. For me, with a lot of water on this course, I think you can look at things like bogey avoidance and stuff like that. You got to keep it in the fairway here. You got to hit these greens, and you just got to be very consistent. And you just can't make a whole lot of mistakes, just like we saw last week. I don't think it's going to play quite as tough as last week, especially Sunday. I mean, that was ridiculous yesterday. It was a very tough course, and I loved it too. But only, 2 or 3 players were under par. I thought that was actually pretty cool, but again, it was very tough. I do want to look at the stats of, I talked about strokes gained approach. I think ball striking. I do think scrambling makes a difference, not because of what you're talking about. It is easier around these greens as far as the surface is concerned. You don't have the crazy lies and what you might get with Bermuda, but I do think with the slope of these greens, that is a tougher scrambling course as far as it's not just like straightforward. It's not very flat greens that you can just, it's very easy to chip around. We walked this course last year. If you miss the greens, it's not like you have an easy chip. Now,
look, here we are. Here we are putting out the vibe on 18. Look at us. Bad. Look at you.
Am I wearing like tight pants or something?
Dude,
like what's going on here?
Damn, looking like a snack in the fairway. Dude, that was that was before you had that Ted Cruz, though. That was before you didn't have a beard. You had a swoop. But dang, Shawty would have seen you from the back. She'd have been approaching.
I was a little more thick then.
Damn.
Anyway,
taken down off of YouTube.
Anyway, I do need to mention past champions because I like to talk about this, and we're going to talk about 2020 last year. Our past champion was Aaron Fleener, and his score was 2 feet 9 inches,
which is equal to about 11 penises, is what he said.
Yeah. So Fleener is your 2020 Players Champion, 2 feet 9 inches. 2019 was Rory McIlroy at 16 under. Webb Simpson in 2018 at 18 under. Siwoo 10 under in 2017. Jason Day 15 under in 2016, and Ricky Fowler in 2015 12 under.
Ricky Flower. Yeah. So all right. Basically, man, this is what I'm doing. And maybe you put this in the comments. I don't give a rip about putting stats this week. I'm throwing all the putting stats out the window. Bermuda, bent, POA, fast. I don't know. I'm throwing all of it out the window. I don't care. I'm going ball striking. This is Pete Dye. Be patient. Have a little bit of experience, because we do know this from past conversations with caddies. Experience tends to matter on this golf course because a lot of it is due to the sight lines and the room off the tee. We've got caddies tell us in the past that, young guys tend to not realize how much room they have out there, or inexperienced players tend to not realize how much room they have in the fairways. And the Pete Dye sight lines mess with people. I like a little bit of experience. I want to see strokes gained off the tee. I don't care if it's distance, if it's accuracy. I'll take a super accurate player that pounds fairways, but I'm not afraid of a bomber either this week. And it's all about approach play and opportunities gained for me, which is the proprietary Fantasy National stat, really scoring heavy stat for DraftKings. Looking at DraftKings scoring as well. I don't care. I'm not going to evaluate the putting stuff. If you look at winners here, look at Siwoo Kim, who historically is god awful on Bermuda. He's terrible on Bermuda, and he won this. He won at 500 to 1. He won this thing. Siwoo Kim, we go home now. He won. I don't think the putting here in this time of year, it's just too, I don't even want to mess with it. I'm tired of hearing about it. I don't want to mess with it. In fact, this is a great opportunity for a YouTube comment. Let's have a YouTube comment. If you're betting or you're playing DFS, how much are you weighing putting? Any sort of putting stat Put it in the comments on YouTube, or are you with me? Are you not weighing it whatsoever? You're not even going to look at it. It's all about ball striking, all about tee to green. Tell us in the comments. Leave a comment. It helps us out. We'd appreciate if you leave a comment. It helps the show. It helps the algorithm. Go ahead, comment for the algorithm. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the like. All that kind of stuff. We need you. We need you. You can make a difference. We need the comment. So are you gonna weigh putting stats, or are you not? If you are gonna weigh them, how much are you gonna put? Are you gonna weigh them like 10%, 20%? What you gonna do? I don't care. I'm not messing with it, so you won't hear me say anything about it. Other than, well, no, you won't hear me say anything about it. You may hear me say one thing about it. I'm just going to go ahead and put that disclaimer out there. So that's me. Ball striking.
Do you know how you make birdies,
David? Yeah, you
David?
gotta make putts. I understand that, but we're talking about the predictive power of putting stats, which already aren't great. So even when I do weigh them, I don't weigh them super heavy. I want the ball strikers. That's all I care about, and I'm just going to hope the putts fall.
Okay.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I mean, hope is a great way to look at things.
All right, let's get into this. Let's get into the DraftKings slate, the DraftKings picks, Pat. I'm excited about it. We got some time. We can kind of wade in these waters. Let's take a look at the top end of the DraftKings range, the 9K and above range. Now, because pricing came out early, we've already got a little bit of a beat on ownership projections. And, this tier starts with DJ, obviously at 11-2, which, and then you got Rahm, Rory, you got the big guns. Now, keep in mind, Brooks Koepka has withdrawn at 10-1, citing a knee issue last week at Bay Hill. It does happen to be the opposite knee that he's had problems on before. Not sure if that's good or bad, or maybe both, but Brooks Koepka is not in the field. And then you got Justin Thomas, Bryson, Webb, Morikawa, Hovland, Cantlay, Finau, and Captain America Patrick Reed rounding out the 9K and above range. I think I went ahead and took a peek at early ownership projections, which normally we don't get to do when we record on a Monday night because they're not out, because pricing's only been out a few hours. But because it came out early, I went ahead and took a look. It definitely appears that in terms of GPPs, obviously a lot of you are probably playing the Millie Maker on DraftKings or other big tournaments. It does appear that the popular move to start is going to be, let me roster 3 guys in the 9K and go from there. Or there's also, the limit, give me 1 10K, 1 9K, go from there. I'm looking at it, though, and I just think, looking at this range, there is so much win equity. Obviously, it's the strongest field in golf. So much win equity. You can't avoid this range. I think that's probably very simple. Some of you are listening to this going, well, duh. But sometimes we look at a field and we look at a tournament, and you say, hey, you could make a kind of a cute DFS lineup in a big tournament, have some ownership leverage, and go fade the 9K range altogether and the 10K range altogether. This is not one of those weeks. You got to have people up here. There's too much win equity in it. You got to do it. But because there's so many good names up here, Pat, I feel like we're going to have like 2 or 3 guys that are 20%, maybe to 25%. And then after that, it's going to drop off. We're just not going to have a ton of chalk here, I don't think. I think there's going to be a lot of guys in the mid-range because there's so many names. So all that to say, I don't know how, even though ownership always matters and leverage always matters, we got 150 plus players here. There's going to be lower 6 of 6, percentages, 6 of 6 cuts, whatever I'm trying to say. I don't know that I'm going to care as much, actually. I think I'm just going to play the guys I love to play, I want to play, that I feel best about, get my 6 of 6 through, and go from there. I don't think I'm going to be too wrapped up about ownership in 9K and above. What do you think?
I actually agree. I'm kind of surprised you said that, but I when I looked at some of the earlier ownership projections, and I'm like you, I don't really look at them all that much on Monday, but we've had a little, we've had the pricing out, like you said, for a little bit, and I think it's a little more spread out, but it's spread out, meaning there's like 5 or 6 guys that you see in that 20% range up here. And it's that immediately made me think, okay, well, I'm just going to play, like you said, the guys that I like, and then I'll try to find some, differentiators in the lower price ranges. I just don't think that, you're really going to gain that much edge on the field for a lot of these players over 9K. I mean, some of them you will, but I think there's some also that you can't avoid that are going to have higher ownership. And so, I mean, in a tournament like this, we've seen it. I mean, year in and year out. I mean, this is one of those tournaments where we get like the top 10 players in the world are probably going to have the best chance to win easily. We've seen them win. We don't see that many outliers like Siwoo and whatever else. I mean, we really don't.
I think you're right. We don't. Siwoo's a rare one there. I guess the only move I would completely avoid from an ownership standpoint, if you're playing in a tournament, is if you were to play like the 3 most popular 9K guys. If you were to say, okay, I'm going to start my lineup with 3 guys in the 9K, and I'm going to play whoever the 3 more popular ones are based on projections. If you did all 3 of those, I think that's going to be tough. But other than that, I think it's fair game to play just about any combo, any of these guys, because I just don't think you're going to be eating up that much of ownership because it's just so spread out. But
I mean, even Justin Thomas is a good example here. Justin Thomas is a guy that we've seen very spotty form lately. He's had
a lot.
The what? I didn't even. You kind of broke up there.
He's been dealing with a lot, but yeah,
he's been dealing with a lot. He had a terrible first round at the WGC, a couple weeks ago, but then brought it back. He fought back hard. He's projected to be the highest owned player right now.
Yeah.
So, and you wouldn't have thought that really going into this week. So, I mean, and that's going to change. But I'm just saying that if he is at 9,900, which is a low price for JT, then it's going to be hard projecting a lot of these guys, for one, as we get later in the week. And also, it just means that a lot of these guys are still going to have higher ownership. You got to pick the ones that you want to play. Go with those guys. Don't worry about the ownership in the 9K and above range. Really, I would say more like 90. Well, actually, all of these guys, and just go with, and then you're going to have to try to pick better players in the 8 and 7K range.
All right, let's talk about the picks. You mentioned JT. He's obviously one that jumped out for me because I just think, man, that's a lot of win equity and a super talented player like Justin Thomas, who's got a great record here. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's solid. I mean, a T3 in 2016, a T11 in 2018. He can win the Players Championship without a doubt. And at 9,900, you get so much salary relief to have a player like him. Obviously the Brooks Koepka withdrawal maybe moves some people down to JT, probably a lot more so than it would move them up to Xander. So I think JT's a great play. I like the JT play, but I think he's going to be the probably 1 or 2 or 3 most popular plays out there. So again, it just depends on what you decide to do in terms of lineup construction. I'm gonna go play Rory this week. I'm gonna play Rory at 10-6. I liked what I saw at Bay Hill, T10 at Bay Hill. Obviously, Aaron Fleener's your defending champ, but he's your, Roy McIlroy, previous champ, 2019. I think this place moving to March, which 2019 was the first year that it moved to March, only helps guys like Rory. Great drivers of the golf ball that can hit it long and straight, hitting from the fairways into these greens and having the shortest clubs possible, being able to control the ball, control the spin, get it on the right tier, be aggressive in the right spots. I think this is a perfect place for Rory to play him here at 10-6. I feel like that's a good value as well. I'm going to roll with it. So Rory and JT for me, he's coming off a T10 and a T6 at the WGC as well. And then, I mean, the 9K range is tough. I'm drawn to one of the first timers in Morikawa, but I think I'm going to use up some first timer tokens and lack of experience tokens somewhere a little bit lower in the tier or in the pricing. And I'm going to go with Webb at 9,500. I feel like Webb is solid, old faithful here. Another former champion. Great whether the course is playing long, whether it's playing firm, whether it's grainy Bermuda or putting like Bermuda or not, doesn't matter. Webb is perfect for this spot. His caddy, Paul Tesori, lives here. I mean, they know this place like the back of their hand. All the experience in the world is there for Webb. T6 in Mexico is last time out. I absolutely love Webb, and I think the $9,500 price tag, again, gives me tremendous win equity. So those are probably my 3 favorites to start off this range. And I'm going to fade the guy who's probably going to be the lower owned play. So, I think a lot of people are going to fade him, and it's Patrick Reed. He pissed me off last week. I had a ton of Bryson in DFS because I ended up seeing all the ownership move off of him, and I had all this Bryson, but I paired him with Reed. I did all these Bryson Reed combos. He misses the cut, but the iron play's catching up to him a little bit, and I don't think Sawgrass is one of those places where he can get away with it as easily. I don't want to see him grinding his way and chipping all over the place. I don't want to see that. And he doesn't have a great record at Sawgrass. It speaks to that. And this is the one time I'm going to mention Bermuda. It's his worst surface historically. And his best finish here is T22 in 6 tries. And in all 6 of those tries, he's never putted well. Never. He's been. I think he had one decent year where he gained a decent amount of strokes for him on the putting surfaces here. So something about these greens he doesn't like. The iron's not there. Even though you get some relief at 9K, even though he's going to be low owned. I just love the way all these other guys are playing. It's tough to find a reason to fade anybody other than him right now. So I'm out on Reed.
Well, that's interesting because my fade was Patrick Reed also. So we have some agreement there.
Last week, I guess.
And I got to say, I'm looking over at the chat here, which tends to distract me at times. And I'm already getting the question, which comes every single week in the Nut Hut on Wednesday night, who my chalk bomb is going to be. Okay. Ben writes the chalk bomb. First off, it's great stuff. If you haven't subscribed to the chalk bomb, you need to.
Ben not only writes it, people need to know, Ben selects the chalk bomb. He does not consult us on the chalk bomb portion. He does not consult us. So people email us all the time. Oh, you said you were going to play him on the podcast and he was the chalk bomb. Well, I didn't pick him. There are 3 of us here. Your job is to navigate each time the 3 of us are right.
Yeah, if you do that correctly, then you are doing better than most. But I will say I will not give my chalk bomb until the Nut Hut on Wednesday night. So I don't have one right now, and I haven't had enough time to look at the ownership. But anyway, I'm with you on Patrick Reed. He was my fade this week. Now, I'm going to start at the very top. I like Dustin Johnson in GPPs. I will play him as a tournament play. I think his ownership's probably going to be high, just like I said. It's probably going to be around like 20% or something like that. But you look at it, I mean, he's played this course well in the past. I mean, all the stats check out. Strokes gained approach, he's top 10 in the field. Scrambling, he's 3rd in the field. He's 11th in ball striking. He's 4th in bogey avoidance. I mentioned you've got to avoid some of those big scores this week. And I think that Dustin Johnson is just like, he's had such a fantastic year. He's won the Masters. He's done almost everything he could possibly do in the last like year and a half. I think this is just one of those, like, it's not necessarily icing or the cherry on top, but I just feel like he's really motivated to do well this week, and I love him at 11-2. And I still think you can get some good lineups together if you pay up for them. So I'm okay with some DJ at 11-2. My next guy was Webb. I actually dropped down straight from DJ all the way down to Webb at 9,500. So I'm with you there. I will say this. Xander's looking interesting to me as far as the ownership. I think Xander is going to be one of the lower-owned guys in that 10K. Well, he will be the lowest-owned guy in the 10K plus range, but I really like what I'm seeing with him. But I'll just say Webb is a guy that I love. And then Tony Finau at 9,100. He's another guy we've just seen play so good week in and week out. I mean, the stats check out. His form checks out. Everything is good for Tony Finau to have another good week. And we're getting him at 9,100. All right. Ownership, I don't care. I don't care if he wins. Just keep finishing in the top 5, Finau. That's what you do every week. So I'm okay with it.
I'll say this, too, about Tony. I was looking at his players' record. He doesn't have a great Players' Championship record, but it's trending. It's trending nicely. He went from 2 missed cuts to a 57th to a 22nd in 2019. So on the way up, but that was 2 years ago. Like, think about how much better of a player Tony Finau is now than he was 2 years ago. I think he's a much, much, much better player. And I think you're right. I mean, his strokes gained approach, his plus for DraftKings, he's number 1 in this field last 24 rounds in DraftKings points scored. I like the Finau play a lot. And maybe people, I don't know, maybe people look at the history and kind of go, that's kind of tough. I don't know. Maybe I'll go to Cantlay, or maybe I'll go to I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I like the Finau call. I do like it. All right. Well, I think that kind of covers the 9K range. I think that's interesting. Let me ask you this real quick. If you were going to play one of the first timers, ball strikers, Morikawa or Hovland, which one you going with?
I'm going with Hovland. Despite Morikawa's recent, I'm still going to go with Hovland.
Hovland's freaking meltdown on the weekend. That is really strange to me. The meltdown at Bay Hill. I mean, he shot like 66, 67, then he shot like 77, 78 or something on the weekend. Absolutely terrible.
I think the conditions probably got to him a little bit. He's not going to see that this week at the Players. I think it's going to be totally different. I just feel like it's a close call. I just feel like Hovland's a much better putter, for one. I know you're not looking at putting, so that's not something you care about. But he drained some absolutely ridiculous putts throughout the week last week. So I'm more on Hovland.
Much better, but he's better. I think I lean Hovland just slightly, a little bit more distance, a little more pop in the bat as well for old Vic. All right, let's move on. Before we do, I got to tell you about a really cool thing. 2 free months in the Nut Hut. How does that sound? How would you like 2 free months in the Nut Hut? Okay. If that sounds pretty sexy to you, then hold on to your britches, because we've teamed up with our friends at Monkey Knife Fight, which is it's legal in 38 states and all of Canada except for Quebec. Is it Quebec or Quebec?
I like to say Quebec.
We have plenty of Canadians in the YouTube chat, so one of the Canadians help that phonetically help me out with that. Anyway, it's legal in a lot of places. Okay, Monkey Knife Fight. Great stuff on Monkey Knife Fight. We've been having a good time with it since the fall. Kind of a new way to play, new way to bet on some golf, new way to have some fun with the golf action every week. All you got to do, here's what you got to do. Sam, see if you can find that caption. You go to playmkf.com/nuthut. That's the landing page for this new thing. You can get 2 free months. And this is not like a contest or a drawing. You do this, and you're going to get 2 free months in the Nut Hut, okay? So here's how it works. Go to playmkf.com/nuthut. You're going to go through that page to sign up for Monkey Knife Fight, create a new account. You're going to make a deposit. You get a deposit bonus as well, up to $50 deposit match. And then you're going to play a real money game. So just play a game, play something. Have some fun here at the Players Championship. When you do that, Monkey Knife Fight will notify us, and then we will send you an email to the email that you signed up with on Monkey Knife Fight. We'll send you an email with a special link in it, and you will be able to sign up for the Nut Hut and get 2 free months. Now, just think about that. You time that right, and you get the Masters, you get the PGA Championship, you get some big weeks in the Nut Hut. And let me just tell you, the Nut Hut is a blast, okay? Now we have a full-time PGA Tour caddy in there, leaving special info and little special treats in there for everybody to know about the golf course and about all kind of fun stuff. John Rathouse is in there, Caddy House, who was in on the show last week. He'll be in the Nut Hut this week, dropping some intel. So, take advantage of the Nut Hut. There's good stuff going on. Tons of sharp listeners in there, tons of people winning money in there, and it's just tons of fun, tons of laughs. Hell, you could join Pat's army if you want. You could go worship Pat in your downtime.
Yeah, don't forget the general nonsense chat.
Weirdest time I've ever thought I've ever. Anyway, you could do all that. So go to playmkf.com/nuthut. Go through the steps. Now listen, don't do it, and then as soon as you do it, email us. Where's my 3 months? Don't do that. They will let us know when you've completed all the steps. And then we will email you within 48 hours with your link. Now, if it's been after 48 hours, you're welcome to email info@tourjunkies.com and make sure you ask for Pat. He's our customer support guy, is Pat. So there you go. That's a fun contest. 2 free months in the Nut Hut. 2 free months. No, Pat, I'm just kidding. You're not. Everybody knows who the puppet master is in this joint, okay? All right.
Good God.
Let's get to the 8K range, Pat. This is an interesting range. There's a lot going on here. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of the 8K range. It starts with Scotty Scheffler. You get Florida boy Berger Hideki, who was leading this thing in 2020 before the world crashed. You got Jordan Spieth, Tyrrell Hatton, Paul Casey, Sung J M, Matt Fitzpatrick, Adam Scott, and past players champion, well, actually 2 past players championship champions, and Adam Scott and Jason Day, rounding out the bottom end of the 8K range. What are we going to do here, buddy? What are you thinking? Give me 2 tournament plays and a fade.
Well, I'm going to start with our boy Hideki at 8,700. I do like him this week, and he was a guy that I came on to late last week and started off incredibly bad, but he finished very strong. Had a if he hadn't have doubled 18 on Sunday at the API at the Arnold Palmer, he would have had the best round of the day at 2 under, I think, or at least tied the best round of the day. So it's hitting the ball absolutely fantastic. I think, Hideki obviously showed last year in the first round that, well, in general, he has played this course very well. So at 8,700, I think his ownership is also going to be relatively low. I like Hideki. And then everybody knows I'm a big course history guy. But I'm going against the course history this week, and I'm going to play some Jordan Spieth at 8,600. Look, he has been so good these last 4 or 5 weeks in a row. When you talk about his approach game, now off the tee, not so great. I get that.
Yeah,
I get that. Putting has been absolutely fantastic, though. His ball striking is getting better. You look at his, scrambling, his approach play. I mean, just the last 24 rounds, he's in the top 20 in the field and strokes gained approach, which was the biggest thing we kept talking, or one of the biggest things other than off the tee, which is I just mentioned still a problem. But his approach play is definitely better than it has been. And here's what I like too. Like, he's never, I couldn't even believe that he hadn't played the API before, that he hadn't played the Arnold Palmer at Bay Hill. That was that was a shocker to me, because he plays a lot of Texas events. That's where he's from. And so he's kind of, some of the Florida events he's taken out of his schedule. But I like the fact that he had the WGC off, and then he played last week. He played well. So not only did he come from the West Coast, where he was already playing well, to the East Coast on totally different, Bermuda, a different weather, all that kind of stuff, and he still played well again. I like that. That just shows that his game is coming into form. And, I think it's good that he played last week leading into this week. So, and we haven't seen that for him at the TPC. That's maybe why his form has been, or he hasn't played well in the past. I don't know, but I like him. 8,600. I will play some Jordan Spieth. And then my fade is going to be Adam Scott at 8,100. I know he's got a great history here, but outside of that, his form has not been very good. You look at the stats. He is, across the board, it's pretty terrible. I think the best, he's 68th in the field in strokes gained approach. That's the best you're going to find. Wait. Sorry. He is 65th in greens and regulation. Okay. Other than that, he's in the bottom third of the field in every stat that I'm going to look at. Fairways gained, ball striking, bogey avoidance, putting, whatever, par 5 scoring. It all sucks. So Adam Scott, I will fade him at 8,100.
All right. The Spieth rant was a long one. I checked out a little bit. I don't know what I'm doing with Spieth yet, so I'm just not going to comment. I was on him last week, and he had a good week. He just sucked on Sunday, which is what he's been doing. So he's got to put 4 together. All right, I'm going to start off with my fade. Let me tell you a little story, okay, about a guy who's 92nd in strokes gained approach, 94th in opportunities gained, which is that scoring stat proprietary to Fantasy National. How many times they hit it within 15 feet on the green or on the fringe in regulation or under to score, right? 94th in that category in the last 24 rounds. Now, here's what's ridiculous. By the way, he's never played here before. His name is Scotty Scheffler, okay? It's really a value thing for me, for Scotty. I think the value is ungood. You know what I mean? That's a technical term.
It's
ungood.
I've never heard you say ungood before.
It just came to my brain right there, right then and there. It's he's 8,900, okay? Look at the betting odds for Scotty Scheffler. He's 50 to 1. Okay? He's 50 to 1. Let me name some names in the 8K range and their odds. Well, first of all, you got Jordan Spieth at 30-1, but he's only 30-1 because the books know there's a bunch of suckers out there that want to bet Jordan Spieth, so they're going to shorten the number. That's neither here nor there. Daniel Berger, 33-1. Tyrrell Hatton, 35-1. Remember, Scotty Scheffler, 50-1. Paul Casey, 40-1. Hideki, 40-1. Tommy Fleetwood, 45-1. Jason Day, now we're talking. Jason Day and Matt Fitzpatrick, 50-1. Scotty Scheffler, 50-1. To me, the value, as soon as I saw the price, I just said, too much for Scotty Scheffler, too much for a first-timer, too much for a guy with a little bit of volatility in some of the ball striking categories, and I don't like to see it. You don't have the value. When you have the names that you have below him, I don't want him. So I'm with you. I'll make this short. I like Hideki. You guys know I love to play Hideki. I'm going to roll with Hideki bot. I like to see the game coming around a little bit like it was at the Arnold Palmer, like you said, except for that 18th hole. So I'm with you on Hideki. I'm going to go to a guy who doesn't have a great record here, but lately he's been playing pretty freaking good, and he should have a good record here. I don't know why he doesn't. It's Paul Casey. T10 at the Arnold Palmer, T5 at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. The Brits, Paul Casey, the ball striking Brit, checks the box and strokes gained approach. I don't. It's not an impressive record at Sawgrass for sure, but I think I might get a little leverage on him, and I think he's been playing really, really well and since really last summer. So I think Decky and Casey for me. Scheffler's the fade. I like a few other names in this range too. So if you hit us up in the Nut Hut, I'll tell you a couple others I like, but those are the two I think I like the most right off the bat. All right, let's get to the 7K range. Try to work through this this jam-packed 7K range. A lot of value here. I gotta say, I meant to kind of say this up at the top. I don't love a lot of names in the 6K. I really like one name a lot in the 6K, and then I like two names some in the 6K. And then there's like three others that are like bearable. So I'm going to, in terms of lineup construction, I'm going to see what I can work with, but I feel like I'm going to try to keep a lot of things, in between the lines here in the 7K range. And one of my favorite plays in the 7K range is at the very bottom, and that's Chris Kirk. So I'm going to jump around here a little bit. I'm going to hit you with Chris Kirk at 7,000, who's playing really freaking good right now. If you're not paying attention to how good Chris Kirk is playing, and one of the best stories on the PGA Tour right now, his recovery story, just kind of battling to keep his card, 16th at the AT&T, 8th last week at the Arnold Palmer, and he's actually got a pretty solid record at the Players Championship. He's made a lot of cuts, finished T12 in 2017, T13 in 2015. I love the value. I love the made cut. It feels like a safe made cut at 7K for Chris Kirk, which I really, really like that. So I'm going to go with Chris Kirk, a name that I want to throw out there because he's one of my favorite recent plays. I played him last week. I feel like it paid off at 7,300. Lonto Griffin, but it comes with a caveat. I put this in the Nut Hut. On after Thursday's round. Lonto made a comment in an interview after Thursday's round that he's having a little bit of a hip and thumb issue. Okay, hip and thumb issue. He talked about it in a round and basically said prior to Thursday wasn't really sure he was going to be able to go, which definitely alarmed me for like Showdown and alarmed me because I had him in a lot of lineups anyway for all four rounds. But he ended up doing okay last week. He made it through all four rounds. He did fine. The irons continue to be very solid for Lonto. He finished T21 at the Arnold Palmer. He's quietly been a very solid ball striker and has a lot of good performances here in the last 8 to 12 months. So Lonto Griffin for me is another one that presents some value. Now he's a first timer, but he presents value, and I think he actually gives you top 5 upside. I mean, he's a PGA Tour winner. I think he could win. I mean, if Siwoo Kim can win at 500 to 1, Lonto Griffin can win. But I think he legitimately gives you top 5, top 10 upside in a strong field. I don't think he's afraid of it. And I'm trying to give you some value here. So I'm going to go Lonto. And then if I work my way up more towards the top, I mean, I guess I'm very tempted by another first-timer, and that's Joaquin Niemann at 7,700. I just feel like that's a really good value for a kid like Joaquin, who I feel like's come into tapped into a different level, tapped into a different level. I feel like his avocados have gotten bigger. He's a big avocado guy. I feel like his avocados have grown. We've watched them grow before our eyes here in the last few months. Just contending week after week. Incredible ball striker. Hits it a long way. Can flight it down in the wind if he needs to, if the wind changes. I love the win equity that Neiman gives you at 7,700. So I'll go with Joaquin. The fade for me is going to be, I'm trying to make a bold fade call here, is going to be Max Homa. And I hate to say it. I love Max. I love him. Love the guy. Just hit him at 70-1. His 7th tournament in a row, which we mentioned that with Will Zalatoris, with our boy Brett Swedberg. 7th event in a row. Now, even last week, I said, man, this is his 6th event in a row. That's a lot. And he still finishes well. Good for him. But the iron play does seem to be diminishing as it has in the last couple weeks. The irons have kind of gotten a little worse. He's been saving himself a little bit with the putter. It's his first time here. Last week, he gained 8 strokes putting. That is not typical for Max Homa if you look over the long term. 8 strokes putting, tough to keep up with. If I'm looking for a bold fade, I'm going to fade Max Homa in his 7th event in a row and his first time at the Players' Championship.
Wow. Okay. So there's some agreement here and a little bit of disagreement. And I got to start with Neiman. So I'm going to skip off of him because I liked him as well. But here's the thing. You mentioned avocado. And I have an issue with avocados. Like when I go to the grocery store and I'm trying to pick out an avocado, like they're always too hard. Like I can't ever find an avocado that's just soft enough where I can take that avocado home and cut it up immediately. Like why should they need to make the avocados in a section? There should be the left side should be like the hard avocados and the right side should be the softer ones that you can take home and cut up immediately. That's the problem I have with avocados. And
an avocado is a planned fruit. You got to plan for a fruit. You can't be procrastinating with an avocado. You got to sit down and say, hey, on Wednesday, today's Sunday, on a Wednesday, I want something with a little avocado in it. I'm going to write it in my planner. Hey, Siri, remind me to go buy an avocado. And then you get that thing. You leave it sitting out on the counter. Don't put it in the fridge. Leave it on the counter. Let it ripen. That's what you got to do. But sometimes the grocery store will put a little barrel of some squishy cados in there. So
I wish they could segment them out just a little bit better. But anyway,
I send Joaquin slide into his DMs on Instagram and ask him if he's got any tips for you or something.
Yeah, I don't know. But I do like Neiman this week. I'm with you there. I am not with you on Max Homa. I like him at 7,600. Look, the guy's just been on absolute fire. He's on a tear right now. It's so hard for me to fade him. And I don't necessarily think that his ownership's going to be that high. I mean, yeah, he'll probably be 8 or 9% or whatever. I don't care. I like Max Homa. I like how he's playing right now. So I am all in on him and not fading him like you are. Chris Kirk was my other guy at the bottom down here at 7,000. So kind of surprised you stole him a little bit out of all these 7K guys. But another guy that's just playing absolutely fantastic. Checks all the boxes here as far as the stats are concerned. Has a good course history here as well. So I do like Chris Kirk. And then Christian Bezuidenhout. I like him also at 7,100. We saw him play last week. And let me tell you something that's important about that. You may not remember this, DB, but old Seabez actually finished in the top 20 of the Arnold Palmer last year. Okay. And played really well before everything shut down. And then guess what he did in the first round of this tournament last year?
4 under.
He was 7 under. He was 2 shots behind Hideki. He was in second place after his first round last year. So the same thing. I'm kind of hoping that history repeats itself. He played well last week. Maybe he's going to do that again this week. But look.
Pat, Joe Keps wants a Seabez song, and I do feel like you gave us the Wyndham Clark song last week. I do feel like if any player deserves a song, I think I agree with the O is silent Joe Keps that Seabez is deserving of some sort of ditty.
Let me see how I can do this. Let me do it. I feel like we need to get down low for Christian. And we go, Christian. Because he's got 2 A's in his name. Christian. And then we go with a Bezuidenhout. Christian Bezuidenhout. You better bring your putter and avoid the bogeys. Seabass.
Did the songs you listen to have rhyming words in them? Because every time you make up a song, ain't shit rhyme. Nothing rhyme. You ain't had a rhyme in a song.
No, I'm not looking for a rhyme. It's more like I like to bring in some
rhyme.
churching. I like to bring in some churching into the
Churching
song. So
rhyme
like,
too, man. Church songs rhyme.
no, they don't. They just have
That's
some
sort
of them
like
do.
a Disney tune. You've been watching Disney or something.
Well,
that
you told
got
me. I
weird.
mean, you never. I never knew I was going to have till 5 seconds
You gotta
ago
be
that I
on
was going to have to
your
sing a
toes, man.
song about.
You gotta have a song in your heart if you're gonna play Seabass. What are we even doing here? We're not amateurs. This is an amateur hour. You're gonna play Seabass. You better pony up. Have a ditty.
I mean, he had 2 A's in his name. That's why I thought I was starting off well. Anyway, I don't care. I don't care about the rhyming. What I also care about is not playing Justin Rose. Now, this is not a bold fade at all, but Justin Rose, did you know I didn't even know he withdrew from the tournament on Saturday. I didn't even see that. So now I didn't have any of them because that's probably why. But apparently he hit like 30 balls in the water on Saturday and then decided that his back hurt. But apparently it's not hurting anymore. And he is playing this week. So Justin Rose is going to be my fade. Look, this is for all the people out there, the new listeners who aren't really paying attention, and you see Justin Rose and you remember how good he was like 2 or 3 years ago. Don't play him, okay? Thank me later. I know that's not bold, but you can thank me anyway. Don't play Justin Rose. So there you go.
Justin Rose is going to top 10. All right, let's get to the 6K range. I think this range is pretty cut and dry for yours truly. I mean, what can you say about old Keegan? The guy is striking balls as good as he's ever struck balls. And I'm excited. I for one, am a Keegan. I hate his setup and his golf swing because he bends his knees too much. But dang it, I want him to be good because I love his ball striking. It gets me. I feel it down in
your loins.
No, what's the thing? What's the line? Well, in my plums. I
feel it down in your plum.
God, his ball striking. So when I look on Fantasy National, it's just one long green tower of strokes gained approach tournament after tournament. I feel it in my plums. I want to take them to the market. Anyway,
you want to sell those plums at the market?
I want to sell them to in the market. Dang, but my man gained some strokes putting last week. He gained strokes around the green. God, I mean, I just want the upside with that approach play, Daddy. God, so Keegan Bradley at 6,900, Daddy likes. And then I'm going to go to Emiliano Grillo, who's played this place very, very well. And another guy, just like he's like Argentine, one of those, Keegan Bradley. He just strikes it really well. Can't putt.
Keegan Bradley, he's not Argentinian.
I said Emiliano Grillo is Argentine Keegan.
Oh, he's like the Argentine Keegan?
Yeah. So yeah, I just feel like that's what he is, and I like him. He's got a good record here as well. I promise I'm not gonna say for like the 6th week in a row, I'm not gonna say Brendan Steele. Even though I kind of like Brendan Steele. But a guy that I was on last week, I had him in a lot of tournament lineups with Patrick Reed, is Bo Hogue at 6,100, almost bare minimum price. Bo Hogue. Guess what? If these greens do putt like Bermuda, Bo Hogue got you covered. If they got a little bit of POA, guess what? Bo Hogue, he got you covered. If it gets a little windy, he got you covered. He finished 26th at the API, 32nd at the Genesis, 36th at the Waste Management, 18th at the Farmers, 16th at the Amex. Basically, Bo Hogue came out of 2021 ready to play some golf. And at 6,100, it's a crazy move. I think the upside's maybe a top 25. Top 25 in this field would be huge for him. It's a crazy move, but if you're playing in a big tournament and you want to go super low, 6,100, I'll give him to you. He's not one of my favorites, but I'll go Bo Hogue. That's it.
Okay. I don't mind that. I am with you on Keegan. I like him at 6,900. But also, where the hell is Charlie Hoffman at?
What Charlie? What the hell?
Where the hell is Charlie Hoffman? I'm going to take some Charlie Hoffman. Once again, 6,800 this week. I liked him last week. He is another guy. Look, been in great form. Is a ball striking machine, which I love here. I think Charlie Hoffman is just like, I love the fact, talked about this last week, that he was injured and screwed everybody. But then you know what he did? He just kept playing and kept playing good. And you know what? He finished top 10 last week. He has a kind of a spotty course history here, but I still think this is a great course for him. So Charlie Hoffman at 6,800, I will play. I mentioned Keegan. My other play that I like is Johnny Vegas at 6,300. He is another guy. We saw him in good form. Should have won, or could have won at least, the Puerto Rico Open just a couple weeks ago. Checks the box also in ball striking, greens and regulation, and par 5 scoring. And he was third last year here, in 2019. Yeah. So I think that old Johnny Vegas at 6,300 gives you a very good cheap option to play well on this course in good recent form. So there you go.
How about, I got to throw out one name. How about Gary Woodland at 6,800 right now? I mean, that doesn't feel kind of crazy.
The hell out of me. It does, but it also,
I mean, it just, I don't know. We got to work that one out. That one feels weird. That one feels really weird. All right, Pat, that's it for the DraftKings preview. Be sure and check out the betting preview if you've not already. We're going to go talk some sportsbook odds, have some more fun over there, probably maybe more singing. I don't know, or maybe Pat doesn't give us a CBEZ play so he doesn't have to sing again. That was a more complicated song. I would pay you $100,000 if you duplicated that song on the betting preview show exactly like you sang it, which you won't. Check out the Monkey Knife Fight promo. Get the 2 months Nut Hut membership for free. That's pretty baller. And let's have a great week, guys. This is a big week. It's not a major, but it's major. It's major in the DFS streets. We appreciate you listening to the Tour Junkies podcast. Don't forget to leave a comment in the YouTube channel if you will, please. That would help us out a lot. Tell us if you're going to weigh putting at all, or just tell us what you think about Pat singing every week, if we should make that a regular segment. I think that's all I got. Pat, you good? You ready to go talk some betting?
Yeah, let's talk some betting. I'm out.
All right, maybe we can channel our inner Ryan Burr. Let's go do that. Thanks. May your screens be green. See ya. Out.